Hey, what's up, La Familia? You crazy football-loving nutters. This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex. Two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross goes, he's done it again. Taylor squares it for Victor Ulloa. It's one up. Ulloa and Taylor. Job done for Inter Miami. Let it in by Moses. What? 6. It's 2 for Miami. Damian Lowell doubles the lead. Sometimes you can just sense something wicked. This way it comes.
I literally just hit record. That is gold. That is pure gold right there.
That has to make the cut.
I don't know about that one.
We have to do a.
We're explicit, but I don't know.
End of season blooper reel.
Yeah, we're explicit, but I don't know for that explicit.
I'll pull all the intros out, or all the stuff I cut out of Trav chats. I'll throw in there.
We let that stuff slide on Trav chats. Here we gotta try and be a little more professional. That was
keep it clean.
No, no one's gonna hear that one. Just for legal protections for the majority. But welcome everyone to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kington, joined today by Mr. Branton Griffin.
What's going on?
IMCFTraveller. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent, especially after that revelation.
Oh, I'm so sad that that's not going to make the cut, but the beautiful people don't need to hear that.
Yeah, for your own
If you want to know what we're talking about, join the Discord. I'm sure it'll hit there.
Join Trav Chats on Thursday night, because I'm sure that I'll be drunk enough to unveil that one.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We're going to disclose that. I thought we were going to give the impression that we were doing Trav Chats sober every single time.
You're sober?
Do we do this show sober every time?
Oh, yeah. For the record, yes.
Drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
Oh, God, we're going there. This is going to go off the rails quick. So, when we last left off, I don't even remember when we last left off, honestly. Let's just jump back to Trav Chats, yeah? So, we get a nice little win with no Messi. Everyone's yelling, no Messi, no problem. We're going to the top of the East. We're going to win the playoffs. We're going to the MLS Cup. God forbid we have one loss, because then it all changes. In every social media format, even in our own Discord, right? We go out. The homie Leo stays home with one of the most questionable pizzas I've ever seen in my entire life. We'll get into that in just a little bit. No Messi, no problem, right? Anyway, we're going up to Atlanta. We're on turf. I think the knock the turf aspect probably played into the knock. Like if that was
100%.
If that was a grass or a hybrid pitch, I don't think there'd be as much concern around the knock that he suffered while on international duty. But we go out, we lose 5-2. Pretty brutal. And now, the whole sky's fallen, and now we're looking for consolation prizes like, if we get 2 trophies without making the playoffs, that's a win. Sure it is. But settle the hell down, everybody. We still have plenty of games to play to claw our way in to that 9th spot, to maybe that 8th spot. But before we get into the game, Brandon, you said you agree. Trav, are you on the same page? You think if it was a pitch of grass or hybrid material, he would have came out and played?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, I think it's as simple as, what Tata said after the match. Miami is prioritizing the U.S. Open Cup final that they play in only, basically a week from now. And part of prioritizing that is choosing a game that Messi's going to miss. And, you take this, you give him an extended break. He's going to have close to an almost 2-week break coming into this matchup against Toronto on Wednesday. he's going to get his legs back under him. He's going to get to spend some time with his family, and he's going to be able to recenter himself and, feel better as we head into this extremely busy stretch to finish the season.
All right, fair enough. The politically correct media-trained answer, I will say. Unless he's dealing with a bad case of food poisoning, because unbeknownst to me, I was not aware, and maybe that's just ignorance on my part, I was not aware Argentina had their own style of pizzas. I thought pizza was pizza. I've had pizza in many countries, and it's always of the Italian variety and ancestry. I don't know what La Banchera is. I'm tempted to try it, but probably not with olives and onions on it, but were they just substituting tomato sauce for sliced tomatoes?
Yes.
So if you go on Twitter, like just after he did that Instagram post, right? There's a line around the block to try that place.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh yeah. It's like
it's
Guy
insane.
Fieri.
Like,
he's the Argentinian Guy Fieri.
Yeah, but listen, to me, like, it didn't look like a pizza. If I had to call it something, it'd be a flatbread, right?
I sound like a flatbread focaccia.
Like, that's what it was, like a focaccia, flatbread, something like that. That was not a pizza to me, but then we saw the pictures of him hanging out at his son's academy game.
That was dope,
which is kind of cool.
Just casually sitting on the ground against a cement wall, just waving
with
to
his
people.
macho.
Yeah, with his matcha, or his mate. Yeah. I guess it was yerba mate. I don't know about all those chai latte drinks, man. I'm just straight espresso into the main vein. But hey, shout out. Maybe he gets a cut, right? I think was somewhere in the contract that he gets not only a cut of the jerseys, not only a cut of Apple, but a cut of any strange-looking Italian pizzas that he's responsible for selling.
Who knows? Maybe fronted the jersey sponsor for next year.
just a humble pizzeria. Well, I don't know. Send me one. I'm curious about it. And then someone else mentioned another country's type of pizza. I think it was Brazil's type of pizza. I don't even know. Anyway, we're getting a little off track here.
I'll try it.
We move into the game. I'll try it. I'll try anything once. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying. But going to the game, the first game against Sporting Kansas City, we weren't able to maintain possession, which has kind of been our MO. This one we were narrowly able to edge out the possession, but we just got slaughtered in counterattacks. And without really, beating this dead horse, I mean, everything looked great. Campana had a nice little goal in this game as well. Probably one of the better. I don't know. Is that his best goal he scored for the club? I mean, that was pretty filthy. The touch.
No, the chip against Orlando was better.
That one just hits harder because it's a rival. But beautiful rocket.
No, but like he chipped him from midfield. Like I don't know.
But Gillespie was really off his line.
This is top 3 though.
5. Definitely. Okay. Absolute ripper by Dixon. Dixon Arroyo off by half inch, maybe an inch. I mean, then that thing just bangs off that post down into the goal. Absolute rocket. Great awareness to see that. Even greater awareness to know that you need to kind of self volley that with your left over Anthony Robinson, I think was the defender there, and then just blast
Miles Robinson.
Sorry, Miles Robinson, and then just blast it before it even touches the pitch again. I mean, absolute rocket. But felt like, hey, hell, this is another game. Like, we really don't need Messi. Let's just go sell Messi and let's just buy, an Antoine Griezmann, right? But it all fell apart. And Trav, I think you said this perfectly, if I recall, in the Discord, right? Is everything went down after, I'm going to butcher your name and I apologize, homie, I really do, Muyomba's goal, which we can get into, was that in, was that out? Why don't we have better camera angles? Why don't we just stick one of those new iPhones in the post, drill a hole like they have in the pylons in the NFL? But I mean, nothing you can really do if you're Drake Callender. I thought honestly, and I don't want to be biased, I'm not 100% sure across the line. Right? Like, I want to believe the refs, but I can't sit here and say that was a clear goal.
So here's the thing. There's no definite angle showing, and I had this fight on Twitter because it makes me seem like I'm not an Inter Miami fan.
You're not.
But you have to stick with the call on the field in a situation like that. The AR, out of everybody in that stadium, everybody I'm watching on TV, the AR had the best angle of that. He was on the goal line, looking straight across, unobstructed. If anybody was going to make that call, it was the AR. It's a big-time call. It's a big moment call. I'm proud of the AR for making that call, even if it went against us.
So that's fine and dandy, but what, like, at this point, like, next year, if we don't have goal line technology, like, this league has to get something right? Like, to me, there should never be a question if the ball crossed the line. You should have a camera there. You should be able to, like the Premier League, there's tons of close calls like that they can go right to the goal line technology and bam, goal. No problem, move on. Like, there shouldn't be controversies like this in 2023 in a league that wants to be a top league. Like, my opinion is like, I think it probably was a goal, and I'm okay with going with the assistant referee's decision because there's no better option, right? Like, we don't have the technology to say, yeah, across the line, and he had the best view out of anybody in that stadium. So, I think it's foolish to fault the refs, but at the same time, like, I think the league needs to do the right thing and implement technology so we don't have situations like this, because it's not the first time that it's happened this season, and it just so happens to be the first time it happened against us. But
That's fair.
The biggest thing for me, and it's the only reason I don't see goal line technology coming to MLS, is we still have, 6-7 stadiums that are shared stadiums that are hosting NFL games and hosting other events regularly. They're not soccer specific. And to install technology in those stadiums that aren't meant, they may not have the right sight lines, so on and so forth, makes it extremely difficult. And it's already expensive to do, but it only gets more expensive when you have a football stadium where it's not designed in a way and where there's a straight line to put a camera on to make sure it's looking directly down that goal line from both sides of the pitch, from behind the goal, all of that.
So then I think if we can get a video camera in a pylon for an NFL game, we can get a camera in a goal for a soccer game. And, I get it that the shared stadiums, but like at some point, like we have to be able to solve this problem. Like, what's going to happen if a Messi goal gets called back and in a similar situation, the entire world is going to go crazy on us? And, it's just, it's the same thing. MLS is the only professional soccer league that's like, top whatever we are, 10 league in the world
12,
that's
maybe.
Playing on turf.
It is. And like, I agree with you, right? A lot of people said, goal line technology is so expensive. Like, I'm genuinely curious as what the figure is per, say, team. Maybe it's, or per, I guess, I don't know, pitch.
But
per
it's
stadium,
expensive
right?
in its current usage.
Fair.
But we can find another way. We could find something.
So this is where I agree with you 100%. Like, you look at the pylon cams on the NFL, and this is why I joke, like, take an iPhone, stick it in the goalpost, drill a hole. Like, Apple keeps bragging about these new iPhone 15s. Like, drill a hole, put a little camera in there so you can at least see directly across that line, and then you don't really need goal line technology because you can just freeze frame and see if it's over the line or if it's not. I think there's a much more simple fix. But, of course, with MLS, everything has to be difficult. So, look, life comes at you fast, kid. It really does. And, again, back to my point that I never got to say, Trav, I think you said it best. Like, everything changed after that first goal. I think, like, just the breath was sucked out. All the momentum changed because 5 minutes later, we're conceding to Kamal Miller's own goal. And then 3 minutes later, we're conceding to a Brooks Lennon goal. And then within, 9 minutes of the end of the first half, we go from being up 1-0 to down 3-1. And that stuff is brutal. And yes, we have seen this team quit, give up so many times in the past, right? We haven't seen that in the Messi era. And I'm not saying that they quit or gave up, but man, the game got so far out of hand where it just seemed like it was an impossible task to come back. But, shortly after the first half, in the 53rd minute, Leo Campana gets a penalty, sends Guzan the wrong way, puts it in the left corner. Beautiful. And then, that's one of those moments like, okay, like it's fine. We've had several comebacks in recent memory, albeit, Messi was on the pitch playing with us at that time, but we did have hope. And then that was ended by Giamakis, and then just one more icing on top in the 89th minute by Wolf. It was just an absolute massacre of the highest regards. And I guess kind of like salt in the wounds is, we don't have a social media manager for the team who like really calls out other teams and goes at it. And I'm cool with that. I'm fine with taking just a professional class route, but there are some teams out there that really like to take digs, and Atlanta being one of them. I mean, with the pizza with the not pepperonis, just the tomatoes shaping the L, and then they redid the whole, which I thought was just so clever and so good, even though kind of irked me a little bit. But the Apple iOS 17.0.2 or whatever update, because on the new iPhone unveil, they had the Atlanta playing Miami and 1-0 Miami at that time of the game they were referencing, but then they updated it at 5-2. So pretty cheeky little jab there. In this game, this is probably the most balanced of the attack that we've ever seen out of this team, in the essence that it was basically split evenly across the left field, middle, and the right side of the pitch. I mean, it was 34 down the right side, 34 up the middle, 33 on the left side. So very balanced attack. Still do what we're doing with 60% of our shots coming from that middle zone. But, in a game where Atlanta has 6 shots on target and we only have 3, I mean, you look at those odds right there. And, yes, Drake Callender is much better than Guzan in his current age and state. I'm still not really sure why that Guzan is even on an MLS roster, but those numbers aren't going to be in your favor. And
but to be fair, I think Drake has had a couple bad performances in a row, right? And that's to be expected when you've got the guy like single-handedly like keeping us in games and stuff for the whole season. And I think, we didn't get a chance to talk about the SKC game, but I think that was probably up until the Atlanta game his worst performance, because he should have stopped both of those goals in my opinion. But I also think he just wasn't his normal self, which is unfortunate against Atlanta, because we've come to expect a brick wall, and eventually when your defense is letting in the chances because we're getting burned on the counter attack, floodgates are going to open, and I think that's what we saw happen.
Yeah, I mean, let's not be mistaken, right? I mean, we have only had one real defensive ad, which has been Aviles, right? And I mean, he's still trying to come to terms with everything. Well, yeah, but I mean, Alba wasn't playing, right?
Yeah.
So we're with Toto, and he's still not. They're still going to take some time where he's got to understand the league a little bit better and kind of how the play goes. There were a lot of individual errors, right? I mean, I think Benha looked like his awareness was just off. I don't know if he was. Seemed like some plays he wasn't aware people were on him or closing down, and not to single him out because Busquets didn't really have a great game either. I mean, he got kind of swarmed in the midfield, and Brooks Lennon was looking like an absolute baller. But it's a game where a lot of individual errors, but what really killed us, and kind of same thing we've seen, is like just the defensive transition, trying to stop a counterattack, and all hell breaks loose, and people are out of position, lost of who's going to be marking who, and then it just becomes a foot race, and everything just gets scrambled, and really flustered.
Yeah, and I think what really led to that is Atlanta kept overloading our midfield by pushing Brooks or Lennon right up into the midfield, like, and I think Trav tweeted it out, like you would see that he was he was constantly moving into like more of a CDM, like advanced, almost like a number 8 at times. And that's how he got his goal. Like they were overloading the midfield, and that was smart because they were exploiting Benja and Arroyo, and Busquets was pushing up a lot higher than he normally does, I think probably to try and aid the attack, because we really didn't have a ton of attacking options in the game, because Robbie Taylor kind of disappeared. I forgot he was playing for long stretches of the game, which is, unfortunate. But, as much as we can say, we just had a bad game, like Atlanta did everything right to really exploit the way we've been playing. Because this was a very different looking Atlanta team to the first time we played, or last time we played them in the Leagues Cup.
Yeah, I think they got it figured out, right? They had some struggles really throughout the entirety, I think, of this season. I think they kind of started off hot. Giamacos just came in booming. But you're right. They came up with a completely different strategy that was super effective, as opposed to like the blueprint Nashville provided to the league. Just kind of sit down there, low block, counterattack, just stay disciplined. And theirs is more overload the midfield, get Busquets as flustered as you can. Messi's not there, which is that calming presence. And one of the best assets to a solid defense is just maintaining possession, high levels of possession. We're talking 60% or more here. And without Messi, the link up between Alba, Busquets, and Messi just it cannot be overstated. Trav, what did you see here?
I'm really glad that one of you guys pointed out Brooks Lennon, because for me, man of the match, absolutely fantastic performance by Brooks Lennon. And they did truly exactly that. They overloaded the midfield. Brooks Lennon is a right wing back who, in transition and in attack, he was given the freedom to basically go play, on number 8 or number 10. Now, a right wing back has no business being in the center of the box on, a goal that comes from a counterattack. Absolutely no business being there. And yet, that's where Brooke Lennon was to score the third goal for Atlanta. And that just overwhelmed Miami. They were pushing both, all three of their midfielders, Busquets, Kromoski, and Arroyo, up high to try and aid the attack and feed Farias, Taylor, and Campana. But when Atlanta got the ball, they quickly were able to exploit those spaces left and behind with just an abundant amount of numbers, which then force players like Kamal Miller, Noah Allen, Toto Alvarez, and DeAndre Yedlin to press high and leave themselves exposed in the back. And it just, right there, that's what undid Miami.
It was. That was a good breakdown right there, actually, buddy. Good job. And I was kind of bummed because we discussed this. I think Trav Chats. The potential to have Fagunda Frias and Robbie Taylor on the pitch at the same time, and there's probably a way to structure this. Maybe have Robbie in the midfield, but no Messi. We get to see Robbie on the right wing, Frias on the left wing, with Campana in the middle. And I was honestly pretty excited to see the potentials of that, and I just felt like it was very, very underwhelming. And good news is he's back. Let's move on to some brighter news. The hunt's not over, man. I really wish everyone would just get over it. Like we thought. I personally thought that there's probably going to be two games we would lose. I am not going to sit here and say, it would be the LA game or be the Orlando game coming up. I just figured like across the stretch of games we had to hit, right? It was like 11 games, I think, when we really came out of Leagues Cup and the hunt was really on. And we could have completely dropped 2, probably needed to draw one, maybe 2, and win the rest. And we still had a chance. And we still have so much of a chance. I mean, we still have games in hand. We still got 2. We got back-to-back games against Charlotte to end the season with.
And everybody above us dropped points.
Yeah.
This weekend, whether it was draws or losses, they dropped points. So, we went into that game 6 points out of the playoffs, and now we're 7.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's no reason to panic yet, especially because, like Trav alluded to earlier, like they're saving Messi for the Open Cup. and prioritizing that. And once we get past that, like, you better believe Messi's prioritizing playoffs. Like,
Oh yeah.
and I think it'll probably come down to that last Wednesday night game against Charlotte for in or out for us.
It's fair. Yeah, you're right. 7 points off of 9, and only 8 points off of 8. So still the chances there. Now, what we're going to see as these games progress. Let's say hypothetically, we lose in Orlando. I bet Orlando probably seals the playoffs if that's possible. But a lot of game to play. We do have a pretty friendly matchup against the Canadians and their Italian friends up north in Toronto coming up. The Canadians are friends with the Italians. There's a large Italian conglomerate up in Toronto is what I'm saying.
Well, the Italians who play for Toronto, I would say, are probably not friends of Toronto.
Yeah.
That is true.
That could be accurate. This, though, I mean, like this feels like a must-win, right? Just given the strength or lack thereof of Toronto. They are the only team that sits below us in the East. This just feels like a must-win. It is a home game, so back at Drive Pink to our fortress. And then, as we were chatting before, on Sunday, 9/24, we are going up against Orlando in Orlando. This will be
our good old home away from home.
Yeah, this is going to be a very toxic atmosphere. They are probably the least classy fan base that we play every year. They love to start up that F Miami chant. They are absolute excrement when it comes to fans. Let's just spice it up.
Watch how many of them are asking for Messi's autograph, though.
Yeah.
Orlando Stadium is just like a stadium full of criminals. Like, I'm convinced it's everybody who got turned down from Disney, and they were like, fuck it, life of crime.
It's the only place that you go for an away day, and as an away fan, you have to wait like 2 hours before everybody leaves, and then when you leave, your car's gone.
I would say something worse, but one, I would fear for my life, and two, Jay's in here, so I would double fear for my life, so I'm not going to say it.
I'm a pacifist now.
Yeah,
Those days
sure.
are behind me.
But yeah, no, I mean, Orlando is probably one of the most it's not even hostile because they're so like stupid, and they're just one of the worst away dates there is because it doesn't matter if you're Miami or any club in the MLS, they just suck as human beings.
Well, and to be fair, we're talking about the extremes, right? Like,
no, I'm talking about all of them.
No,
I'm talking about every single one of them.
Some nice ones up there.
But I've met a
saying this, I'm supposed to trade scarves with one of them to be like, hey, look,
we that Beanie Baby guy.
We can all be. Well, no, I don't want to be near him. I don't want to become his new puppet. Like, I like a lot of things, but not that.
Look, I'm just going to say this, right? This isn't just because there are rivals. I have interacted with a lot of fans from teams around the East, and there seems to be a universal agreement that they're the most toxic and tasteless fans in the league. And that's not from my mouth. That's from the mouth of every other single team in the East. You can look that up. That is out there on the interwebs. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're going up against the mighty, mighty Toronto. 4 wins, 10 draws, 14 losses. We've already spoken about the Italians. Their lead scorer is Bernardeschi. Right behind him is Insigne. They've got Kerr. They've got Mark Anthony Kay in there as well. Assist-wise, I mean, Osorio's a beast. And then more Italian love, Richie Larea. This is a team that I'm not going to say is close to really having potential, but probably, they got like 3 decent signings. They might have a competitive squad, but this is one where it feels like a must-win. We need to go out here. We need to dominate. We need to get Messi back on the pitch, get the confidence up high, right? Because you're riding a however many games. What was our streak, Trav? Do you know off the top of your head? 12. Boom. So then you lose one. Not just lose. You get blown out. You get ran out of town. your confidence can drop a little. So let's get back in here. Let's get a win. Let's get the confidence back up so we can travel up to Orlando full force and just, give them help. Remind them that Florida's pink, not only for Inter Miami v Orlando, but Florida is even pinker for Inter Miami 2 versus Orlando City B, or whatever they call the little kitty squad over there. Now it gets fun. Not fun for the players. Not a lot of time to rest, but fun for us. Fun for the fans, right? We get games, every 4 days again until the end of the season. Here's the push. Yeah. Things to keep your eye on, though. So that is Sunday the 24th. The 27th is the Open Cup. So we play this Wednesday against Toronto, Sunday against Orlando in Orlando, and then the following Wednesday we're playing at home against Houston for the U.S. Open Cup for our second piece of hardware in time's flying, a month and a half, something like that. So it could be a beautiful little setup. We'll preface it because, Trav, I know you love this, but even if somehow we kind of piss the rest of the season away, it cannot be understated that it's still a massive accomplishment to come away with 2 trophies this season. That doesn't mean I'm okay with us pissing the rest of the season off and just taking these 2 trophies. I'd like to see a hell of a fight. And if we lose and we give it our all and we just fall short, we can all live with it. But let's go out there. The treble is still on. It's not over.
Well, and, I love to say that because, first of all, how many teams in MLS have seasons where they've won 2 competition trophies? I'm not counting the Shield. How many teams can say that they've done that?
I don't
can
know the answer
anybody
to
think of one?
I can't think of any.
I can think of one off the top of my head, and I believe it's DC United back in the late 90s. They won the U.S. Open Cup and MLS Cup in the same year. That's it. That's it for MLS teams that have won 2 different competitions in the same year.
That was before you could pay players more than $70,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so for Miami to come away from the season with 2 trophies, if they go out and beat Houston in the U.S. Open Cup, regardless of if they make the playoffs, they get knocked down the wild card round 1, round 2, the conference finals, the finals of MLS Cup playoffs, it's still a successful season. And, worst case, Miami doesn't make the playoffs. They are looking at a, 3-month break until they play again. 2.5, a month and a half of that is true time off. And that's going to be massive for this team. It's going to allow players like Ian Frey, Franco Negri, Coco Jean, Jean Mota, Gregory, all of these guys to heal and potentially come back better next season. And for Chris Henderson to now make more moves to strengthen the squad ahead of the 2024 season, where Miami's that just chip on their shoulder that's been holding them back, the rope that has just tugged at them the past couple of years is finally going to be cut free.
And because I like saying this every single episode, it seems like it's going to give Tata the time to actually implement his system and put some philosophy in everyone's head. It is massive, and the potential amount of games that we could be playing in next season is going to require serious load management.
Yeah.
And
we're also speaking about Tata getting to put in his system. Like, Tata's also going to be able to get his players, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's going to have... He and Henderson have already had the conversations. The scouts are already in the field. Like, they're already assembling their list for the winter. And so, yeah, we're bringing back some important pieces, and some pieces are getting healthy. But this squad is going to go over a massive overhaul in this offseason. Like, we may not have more than 10 people who are on the roster this year come back next year because of all the contracts that are expiring this offseason that were structured in that way. So once the sanctions came off, gloves are off, And
I was about to say that exact same phrase.
Now,
I was going to say that exact same phrase. Now gloves are off, right? A lot of the contracts ending and several more ending at the end of the 2024 season, right? Or in December 2024, I believe. So I don't know if it's going to be a massive overhaul like we saw 2 seasons ago, right? But there's still going to need to have some players brought in because we do have decent depth when they're not on international duty, and we can use everybody. But we're really going to need to have the squad fully loaded, use as much of our cap space, TAM, GAM, the DP mechanisms, the young, U22 initiative mechanism. We're gonna have to get this as clean as we can get it, and I think we all fully believe in Chris Henderson. But how many games are we talking about here next season? You're having 34 of the regular season.
I actually did this earlier today. Miami this season, assuming they miss the MLS Cup playoffs, will have played 46 games. Now, that does include, a run to the Leagues Cup final, a run to the U.S. Open Cup final. Now, if you take away, the extra games that those two runs add, for Leagues Cup, that's an extra 5 games. Nashville in the final.
You're working your way backwards?
Yes.
Philly, right?
Philly, Charlotte, Dallas, Orlando. Mm-hmm. So there's 5.
Plus,
because you're gonna play 2 group stage games no matter what, and then work your way backwards in the U.S. Open Cup. Houston, Cincy, Birmingham.
Yep.
Nashville,
Miami FC,
Charleston, Nashville.
Right? I was about to say Charlotte. I was like, that's not right. Charleston. Yep.
So
the better team in the Carolinas
and Miami FC.
So right there at Miami FC, we're going to play actually, we get a bye to the next round, so we may not see Miami FC next year.
And but we're going to add on the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which, to be fair, we're getting a bye past the group stages, but that's still going to be.
If you believe the rumors, we may also be playing in Libertadores.
That is correct. If you believe the rumors.
So, at a minimum, next season, assuming that Miami plays 1 U.S. Open Cup game, gets knocked out, plays 2 Leagues Cup games, gets knocked out. And then they'll play, I think CONCACAF Champions Cup is 2-legged, so 2 games there. Mm-hmm. Miami, at a minimum, next season will play 39 games.
We may also play, Campeones Cup or whatever LAFC is playing in, right? Because we won Leagues Cup.
So they're restructuring this. It's going to be interesting. I have it saved on my phone. It's like a 4... It's called Copa Interamericana. It's in 2024. I don't think the dates are released yet, but it's the CONCACAF Champions Cup winner playing the CONMEBOL winner, so the Sudamericana winner, 2023. All these are the champions in 2023. So CONCACAF Champions Cup, Sudamericana, Leagues Cup 2023, and then Libertadores as well. So the 4 champions of this are going to play each other. I don't know if this is going to be a two-legged kind of thing. I mean, this could be a pretty quick little fun tournament, but what'd you say the minimum was, Trav? 39?
39. So right there we're looking at 40, 41.
Potentially, though. We're talking 50-plus games. Maybe.
Yeah, easy. Assuming that Miami does, make a run again in Leagues Cup, if they make a run again in
Open Cup.
The U.S. Open Cup. And this isn't even any other competitions we may be invited to play next season. And I'm not sure, do Leagues Cup champions get a bye, or is it only the two domestic league champions in Leagues Cup? Because I think it's only the 2 domestic league champions.
I think it's
and
just
probably
the
the
2,
champion.
because then 3 would throw things off. Unless they're
listen, it's MLS. We make this shit up as we go.
Yeah,
but they could also just give a bye to the
year.
winner of CCC.
Yeah, that is. I think so. Who won this past one? Leon, or was it Tigres? No, we don't.
That won CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah,
I think it was Leon.
I want to say it was either Leon or Tigres. I can't really remember. But they probably get a bye, and then we get a bye, then the other 2.
Yeah, the current champion is Leon.
Okay, there you go. Boom. So that's. But again, I don't know. It's so hard to keep up with all this stuff. We should all probably write it down. Keep track of it better. Anyway, massive massive amount of games being played next season. We're going to need more depth. We're going to need more players. And, gloves off. Sanctions over. 1.2 million more at our disposal. Moves to be made. And we'll keep up with that. We do have 2 additions that are coming in. How much they'll be able to help us next year will be up for grabs. Trav, we did this last time. So we don't need to go too deep into this. I'm going to go the one I love. You can do the one you love. But Santi Morales, son of former interim coach Javier Morales, was signed to the first team. Really like this little shifty kind of junior Messi type of player. Needs to put on some weight, probably grow a little bit. But he was the MVP of the U15 MLS Next Pro Cup of last year. So this guy looks like he is serious potential, could be a stud. Just a kid, has so much to grow, and really excited about that. Trav, go ahead and speak on your homie.
Which one? Lawson?
Yep.
So Lawson Sunderland, 21 years old. Another midfielder Inter Miami has signed from the second team. Another graduate of the Inter Miami development path. Lawson is such a shifty box-to-box late arriving midfielder. He's got such a great soccer IQ. He can take a shot when needed. He can play some just marvelous passes up, through the middle of the field. And actually, this past weekend when Inter Miami CF2 played Atlanta, he had a brace. Both goals were off of late arriving runs into the area where balls played across to him, and he's right there at the right time to slot it into the back of the net.
And you always share his highlights, so I like keeping up on them that way. So 2 additions right there, but I think what we're all expecting is probably some more South American talent to trickle its way in here. Probably going to see a few TAM-GAM deals worked out, some wheeling and dealing. It'll be pretty exciting times ahead. Branton, thoughts?
We've got the super exciting news that Campana signed
Oh,
a
yes.
new extension.
Yes, till 2027.
So suck it, Mike.
And so let's go ahead and do this, right? So that commitment was, as we've discussed, was on the call with Jorge Mas, right? That he is the centerpiece of this team, and we're going to build around him, and he'll be the biggest beneficiary of Messi. I think this move right here probably spells out what's going to happen in the offseason in terms of Josef Martinez. I don't think he's been as effective as he's wanted to be. He's done a great job of being, as good of friends with Messi as he could be in this short time. But I think that we'll see him depart. Campana will be the starter here out moving forward, which a lot of people called for. Right when Messi came, it was basically all Josef Martinez. So certainly something to keep your eye on, which does kind of free up a secondary spot. We've got Schneider on loan, but we could certainly use another striker, right? Leo can't play every single game for 90 minutes.
So, like Joseph, when he's looked his best, in my opinion, is his substitute appearances when he's come on and gone against tired legs, because I think he kind of turns back the clock, and he's kind of at the same speed that he used to be, right? Going against some tired defenders, and he's been fun to watch. He's given us a lot of goals, but Campana is definitely our future. I know a lot of people are saying that this is like the same thing they did with Bryce Duke, that they're going to sign him to an extension just to increase his transfer value potentially, but I just don't see that. I think Campana is our guy going into next season, and then if we want to go out and get a Suarez as the backup, or potential rotation, because like we just talked about, we're going to probably play the most games of any MLS club in history next season if we make runs in the tournaments we're in. So we're going to need quality guys, and if Joseph wants to come back, I'll be happy to take him back. Like I said, I think at this point in his career, he's really best when he's a substitute and going up against tired legs, and he still has that killer instinct. He just kind of has lost a step with his injuries and stuff. So
yeah, and he won another Team of the Week, as we like to call it, Team of the Match Day in the MLS. So Branton, remind me in the off season to make a document for us, and we can start tracking throughout the season who's tallying the most Team of the Match Days, because it is interesting. Let's pivot to something a little more fun or kind of depressing, because let's be honest, FIFA has always shafted MLS on their rankings, but They did release some of the newly redubbed EAFC 24 ratings. We got Messi at 90, Busquets at 83, Alba 83, Josef Martinez at 75, and Facundo Farias at 75, which he is a 75 in this past year because I transferred him into the roster once we signed him. Here's some fun. Tell me if you agree with this at all. Best defensive rating on the team, Sergio Busquets. Now I saw that. I saw the
That's
Discord
hilarious.
from afar. I saw the Discord from afar going in today, arguing about Busquets and how he doesn't have to defend. He's not known for a defender. That's not his role. And people saying, well, I mean, he literally is a CDM. So
Not people. There was just one person saying that he was.
No. The
was
Messi
good.
stands were saying it too. Those Barcelona,
It's the same person we're talking about. It's his friends.
God.
that he's brought
They're
in from.
collectively one group now.
Yeah, he claims he's not bringing him in from the Twitter sphere, but I bet he is. Best crosser, Jordi Alba. That's pretty interesting.
That's accurate.
Best agility.
Yeah.
Guess this one.
Best agility. Ooh.
Robert
Coco
Taylor.
Jean.
Neither. Stefanelli.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play, so I really don't know.
Wish.com Messi can, definitely do it.
It's horrible. Highest potential. I'm not going to make you guess this one because I think we're all going to guess Benha. It's not. It's Farias, who
Yeah, that one's easy.
Yeah.
will be a nice little budding star here. Outside of that, I mean, I don't really know. I think that might wrap it up. I appreciate you, Trav, for holding it down. It's been a hectic week for the whole household over here getting sick. Brandon and I were trying to record last week, failed the first two attempts, went for the third, felt like I got hit by a Mack truck, so that wasn't working. Is there any other news that I missed you guys can think of, or any other random topics you wanna discuss?
So the one thing you failed to touch on, and I just love it because it's just the ultimate irony of MLS. Remember last year when Miami was supposed to play Orlando in September, and the match was postponed because Orlando was playing in the U.S. Open Cup final on Wednesday.
After they gave them home field advantage in every single game, probably the easiest
and
run.
after they spied on a USL team
And played a USL team in the final.
God,
and spied on them because they weren't confident enough to beat a USL team.
God, I'm looking at our schedule and, oh, look at that. Miami plays Orlando in Orlando. And then we play a U.S. Open Cup game at home on Wednesday. Did I read that right, boys? Or am I sensing a little bit of MLS was afraid of USL and wanted to give Orlando a little like, hey, guys, you better not fuck this up. Here you go.
I think it's more MLS makes more money out of League's Cup, so let's prioritize that tournament and congest the schedule. And who cares about U.S. Open Cup?
It's all about the Benjis.
From an MLS standpoint.
But no, I get your point. To be fair,
Just shut up,
devil's
Jay.
advocate.
No.
Where we fair. Where are we going to fit the game?
Well, if we rescheduled the Charlotte game to Wednesday in that international break, or last Wednesday, could have put it there. Could have put Orlando at the next game.
Yeah, they would have done it much earlier. They couldn't push it to the end of the season because we already had to reschedule Charlotte. And Lord knows how much this league loves its decision day.
So I would actually like to blame all of this on Charlotte for advancing to the semifinals of
Yeah, right.
of League's Cup because
Either way, it was getting rescheduled.
no, because if that Charlotte match doesn't need to be rescheduled, then boom, the Orlando match can be rescheduled.
Yeah, but
once
we drew them, it didn't matter. If we won, we were going to reschedule it, and if they won, we were going to reschedule it because we were playing. But we had a game 2 days later.
Listen, Jay.
I'm sorry, that rationale's coming in here. My bad.
Shut up. Let me be
Said
irrational.
they moved it from a Saturday to a Wednesday. It went from like an all-day tailgate type of game to like I show up at game time.
What if we just did a double header? Right?
Let's do it, man.
Anyway, let's move on. Who likes rugby?
The Miami Sharks.
Yeah, which
I am pretty excited for that.
It's so. How long have they been in existence?
Like
They just
a year?
announced a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's brand new. Anyway, so the professional rugby team I didn't know even existed until today. It secures the AutoNation sports field at the Florida Blue Training Center as their home field beginning in January 2024. So just to put this in reference, they're not playing at Drive Pink. They're playing at the AutoNation Community Sports Field, which is where you see a lot of La Familia tailgate. It's
That's where they do the high school football games and stuff there too.
turf pitch.
it's where the academy was playing.
Turf pitch.
Yeah.
After all this naysay about what we got a turf pitch that is used primarily for, whatever random teams they want to go. They run little tournaments there, I know. All of the training pitches, same hybrid grass that you'll find on Drive Pink, but not this one. So that'll be a fun little new event to take your family to. That's going to start in January of 2024, so really not that far away. I say we all go to that game. I say we paint up. I say we wear shark fins on our head.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and if you were just on the premise, if you're on Inter Miami's property that I don't even think it's their property, city's property, whatever. This is the one time for everyone that's complaining that we never get English chants. This is the time to come out.
This is it. This is our time to shine.
Get some English chants going for a rugby game and just get that feeling that you've been desiring.
And I'm going
to
to say this in honor of Jimmy Buffett. If the Miami Sharks, when they score, if they don't play Fins, it's a total missed opportunity.
They should just name them the Florida Buffets.
Yeah.
Scrap the Sharks.
Yeah,
You already got Nova.
the Miami-
Nova, whatever one it is.
The Miami Parrot Heads.
The Miami Cheeseburgers in Paradise.
Yes. Yes. Just walking out to Margaritaville or cheeseburger. I guess applicable
Yeah.
cheeseburger in Paradise.
Margaritaville as the jersey sponsor. They have that.
No,
They're coming out to
Margaritaville
Archie and we're just coming out to Jimmy Buffett, just chilling.
Yeah.
I vote that we rename the community field to Margaritaville.
Oh, that's probably
Love it.
That's a trademark battle.
It doesn't matter. He's dead.
Not if Margaritaville
You still got
sponsors
an
it.
estate.
Yeah, so what?
Listen, Margaritaville.
I'm pretty sure Michael
I'm
Jackson's
pretty sure
estate
that's
still
its own
owns the
thing now.
Beatles publishing rights.
Aren't all the Beatles dead?
Yeah, but
No.
Michael Jackson somehow
Paul
secured
McCartney
them.
and Ringo are still alive.
Yeah, okay, fair. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. Probably delayed. I don't think we've had an
Legend.
episode since the big homie passed. So R.I.P. pouring out for our man, everyone's man. It's Jimmy Buffett. I've never met one person in my life that was like, yo, I hate Jimmy Buffett. Or like, leave the party then. Just go. You're miserable. You're miserable. But that brings us to the conclusion. I want to thank you two for coming on tonight. Branton, I really want to thank you for just sticking with me through thick and thin over this past week. And
I am PC till the end, baby.
gang, gang, as the kids say. I'm a pacifist now. That life is behind me. Thank you, Trav. I will not be joining you this week. Enjoy your show. Enjoy not having to hear me ramble on about dumb alien conspiracies.
It's all right. I'll have George tell me about whatever murderer he had set free this week.
that he
Probably there's 9 juveniles that escaped.
Yep. I will be leaving town for a wedding, so I unfortunately will not make it to the Toronto game. I am hoping and praying to the soccer gods that this wedding on Sunday does not interfere too much with the Orlando game, because I would love to just cap that night off with a win over our rivals. But if you don't check us out on social media, please do so on Instagram at Inter Miami Podcast, on Twitter at Inter MIA Podcast. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to La Familia. It's all for you, baby. It always has been. It always will be. As we end every single episode, vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.